Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. In this video, I want to share a Maitreya experience. Now, it didn't happen to me, and I don't feel like I'm gossiping because it was actually published in Share International magazine, but it was an experience that actually meant a lot to me, and I've really meditated on it since I've read it. And there's a wonderful truth to what Maitreya said to this person. Now, this person happened to be Benjamin Creme's own daughter, and apparently she was going through a rough time in her life and was kind of down in the dumps, and she was walking through this day she would happen to be walking through I think it was Hyde Park in London. I don't know if it was Hyde Park, but I think it was. And this older gentleman came up to her and asked her if he could walk with her for a while, and she said sure, and this person ended up being Maitreya. And at some point in the conversation, he asked her if he could give her some advice, and she said sure. And what he said to her just was, I found to be very profound, but it really is a teaching that the masters will be teaching us when you see them on TV. And that is, he said, everything in cosmos is made up of energy, just like Einstein said. Now, that energy all has its opposites. And where that relates to us is, just because you're having a good year this year, who's to say next year won't be a better year or the best year of your life, right? And he said, you take dating. This is what he told Benjamin Creme's daughter. And I always thought this was kind of funny because I was dating at the time. I wasn't married when I read this, but that, you meet this person, whether it's if you're a guy, it's a girl, whatever, right? And you just think they're the most wonderful person in the world. They can do no wrong, right? You're totally infatuated with them. And then next year you look at that same person, or a while down the road, or it might even be just a few months if you're smart, right? And then you realize that A, they're not the right person for you, and B, they aren't so great, fine, and wonderful, right? And you end up breaking up with them or whatever. And that's when he kind of jokingly said, and kind of tongue-in-cheek, that's why marriage is so much easier than dating. And if you're married, you know what I mean, wink wink, right? But there's a lot of truth to it. And then he said something about, well, just because you're having a bad year this year, who's to say next year won't be a better year or whatever. And he said something that I thought was very profound too. He goes, that's why suicide is never a good option, because you never know what's right around the bend. And what's right around the bend could be the one thing that you've been holding out for your whole life or whatever, and you just don't see it right now. And there's so much truth to that. But these masters and Maitreya, when they're teaching us, they're going to be teaching us that, life isn't perfect, right? That you have to learn how to handle the blows and the gifts of life, and you have to do it with detachment. You have to understand that just because you're going through a bad time, it's not the end-all and be-all of your life. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Now, I know sometimes that light at the end of the tunnel is an ongoing train, right? as the saying is, but and then you have to deal with that one, right? But eventually, sooner or later, things will get better. There's always a bad and a good and a good and a bad and a bad and a good and a good and a bad, right? And now the other thing of it is, the flip side of the coin is, obviously, is if things are going great in your life, it doesn't mean things are going to go great in your life for the rest of your life. You are going to have to deal with crap too, right? And you have to be detached when you're at those levels as well. But just like the late Billy Graham said, the fruit is always grown in the valley, never on the mountain peaks. And it really is so true, because you learn more about life and about yourself when things are tough than when things are going great, right? Now, looking at it globally, right? Well, just because we're living in a world where we have all these problems, the pollution, the disparities of the economy around the world, where a lot of people are, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting even poorer. There's starvation in the world and so forth, and political divisions and racial divisions and violence all over the world and stuff like this. Just because we're experiencing that today doesn't mean that next year won't be the best year that we ever had, and we are living the exact opposite of what we're living like today. And the energy that flows out of Maitreya, the sword of cleavage, which was predicted in the Bible or prophesied in the Bible by Jesus, I come not to bring peace but to bring a sword. He was talking about the energy of the Christ. And that energy of the Christ always creates a temporary, just a temporary lack of peace in the world, or divisions in the world, but it will eventually bring about unity, synthesis, and brotherhood. But these masters will be teaching us that we need to be detached from when things are going good and when things are going bad. And that's what's going to bring about the joy that we need to, that we will eventually be living moment to moment, just like these masters. But, and as always, take action. Help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos. Have a great day.